There are legends round here, even if only in their own minds. Forgotten, but not dead. Some have tried to stop them, but they keep coming back, coming to entertain you. They are the Crystal Lake Soldiers.
I do want to thank you guys for checking out our first podcast here at the Crystal Lake Soldiers podcast. My name is Isaiah, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Sean, Ted, and Mark. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good, man. Sean
Fantastic.
here.
Yeah, man, pretty good.
Fantastic.
So, this is something new for all of us. We're just going to kind of go with the flow, see how this goes, and we just want to talk a little bit about some of the news that's been going on with, horror movies that's been coming up within the last week. So let's just go ahead and just dive right in, and we'll see where we go from here. So I know we've been hearing a lot about a lot of sequels, remakes, that kind of crap coming out. One remake in particular, and this is something I know I shared with you guys already when I sent you guys everything, but they're redoing I Know What You Did Last Summer as an Amazon exclusive series. Why they decided to do this, who the fuck really knows, because I couldn't stand the first or the second movie, and the fact that they wanna, and I've never even seen the third movie.
It seems to me like they're trying to do similar to what the Scream TV show did.
Right. And even with that series kind of went nowhere. I mean, obviously they just came out with the third season, which they finally brought back Ghostface.
The first season.
That show
Yeah, they brought back the original
from
guy,
that. The show had that huge MTV signature. It couldn't get away from it.
Right.
It was just MTV was all over that. Everybody was ridiculously beautiful. Everything. Everybody had Apple everything and all this. Everybody was all decked out. Everybody was rich.
Right.
In that fake suburban picture that MTV is painted for everybody.
Yep.
Well, Amazon is calling this a young adult horror series. So.
Right.
Well, I mean,
My breath.
Twilight's a young adult horror series.
Yeah. So the big news with this.
Another favorite of mine.
Right. So really, the kind of news with this, I mean, honestly, them making the fucking show itself is, I think, a bad decision. But the news really comes with the fact that James Wan, of course, who made The Conjuring, Insidious, so on and so forth, the Saw series, he created that. He's directing the pilot episode for this, so it's...
I enjoy his stories, for sure.
Right.
It's like he knows what he's doing.
I think...
Gives it a slight potential,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they can get away from the movie and just be their own thing.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of the only thing that kind of sells me on it, is the fact that he's doing the pilot episode. Because if it were just the fact that they're just doing the show, I would completely write it off. But the fact that he's a part of it gives me a little bit of hope. I mean, I don't have much hope just because I've never cared for the movies. And I thought they were just
You're not a big fan. I think there's a fan in here somewhere, though.
Yeah, yeah, I like them, but
Oops.
I was pretty young when I watched them, so
Yeah.
I had a huge crush on Sarah Michelle Gellar growing up. Massive, unhealthy crush.
That's great.
Do you have her pictures taped to your bedroom walls, man?
No, I never really got I never got into posters, really. I just watched a lot of Buffy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, Buffy was great
Uh,
back in the day.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I'm really not interested in the series. I'll check it out, like I said, because it's James Wan. But I'm just like,
Right.
Well, hey, if you got
Again.
Amazon Prime, you can check it out for free, and if you
I
don't
do have
like it,
Amazon
never
Prime.
watch it again.
Right.
That's what I said. I'll check it out, but I don't have any high hopes for it.
No, definitely not. So that's kind of, the first story, that I had come across, today. Now, some of the bigger news that came out this week all revolves around, obviously, by now, most people that, are into horror movies and whatnot have heard that Danny McBride, David Gordon Green are moving forward with 2 more Halloween movies coming out October of 2020 and October of 2021. First one being Halloween Kills coming out next year, and Halloween Ends coming out in 2021. Thoughts on that? I know personally, I'm glad that they're moving forward with the sequels now. I'm not a fan of the names of the movies, though, personally.
And I think it's too soon. I mean,
Okay.
They're cranking them out awfully fast. That's for
Halloween
sure.
2018 was a hit, and they're trying to ride off of that thunder. But I think they're trying to rush it too much, and they're just the care is not going to be put into these movies. I think that
Which isn't that
normally
what the whole
would.
point of rebooting?
Yeah,
or-
it's
Well-
about creating a piece of art.
And here's kind of the side thing to that, though. The reason why they are moving forward with it is because they actually, what came out in 2018, they have said wasn't the full movie that they had. They actually took stuff out, and that's where these 2 new movies are coming from. Is it's the stuff that they had already planned for the original movie, and even because they had said that they had stuff written for the sequels before they decided just to focus on the one movie. So it's not like I guess it could be looked at as kind of rushing it out because they just finally announced
If it's
it.
like that, they had a lot planned out, it sounds like.
Right. It's like they already had stuff that was written, so it's not
I personally
completely.
didn't know.
Yeah.
That and I think a 2-year waiting period is acceptable enough instead of rushing it out like year after year. They're going to film them back to back, and it's not like it's going to be 2019 this year and then 2020 next year.
Right.
They actually have a plan. So I think a 2-year waiting period's fine. 2 to 3 years is really the best if you're trying to make a sequel to something instead of cranking it out right away, which
Right.
we know how well that happened for Halloween 5.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm getting the Never Hike Alone effect, because Never Hike Alone was such a big hit, and now we have 1,000 Friday the 13th fan films coming out.
Right. No, I definitely understand that.
Which that's in response because I think everyone's just frustrated because
The
Sean
lawsuit.
Cunningham and the lawsuit.
Yeah, of
So
course, that's
everybody's
also a
just like,
sticky,
you know
sticky
what?
subject.
Screw this.
People just want a movie. We
Coming out with
want
their own
another
stuff
movie.
now.
Yeah,
That's
people
what
are
it
just
is.
saying
They
fuck
can't
you to them.
recognize
I
the
mean,
desire. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're just tired of having to wait because they can't sort their own bullshit out, and so people are like, well, we're just gonna fucking do it. But now because one was such a hit, like Mark was saying, it's like everybody's got to fucking make one now, and some of them are good. I mean, if you look at it, because they had that Michael Myers versus Jason one that they recently released too, that was also a hit. But you have all these other ones. I mean, you've got one with C.J. Graham in it that they're premiering at some festival.
Yeah, that I'm
13
interested in.
fanboys.
That I want to see. Yeah.
Yep.
The story behind that sounds really cool.
It's got 13. It's got Kane Hodder in it. C.J.
Yep.
Graham. So many people. It's crazy.
Right. And so,
And don't forget about. I was just gonna say, don't forget about Tom McLaughlin's been talking about. He's written a script to a sequel to Jason Lives. Also.
Yeah, and that got me excited when I heard about that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I did hear about that, and it's like people want to make a new fucking movie, but it's like the companies just can't get their shit together and just settle their fucking differences. It's like fucking adults. They got to act like 12-year-old children, and it's just like they're wasting money. It's like they're just taking money and just throwing it in a fucking fire pit because they don't want to fucking just man up and just deal with their shit. But
Yeah.
that's a whole different story. Back to Halloween though, because there's actually more, to the story, obviously. Number one, Nick Castle has been confirmed to be returning in some form for playing the Shape. So we do know that he is coming back. He has confirmed that himself, that he is going to be a part of the next 2 movies.
Nick Castle's a great guy. I love him.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy in the first movie because when they're showing the side of his face, it gave Michael Myers a really old man kind of feel for me. So
Yeah.
if they use him, in a smaller capacity for little things, like it's a nice, cool thing.
Right.
He's been part of it for so long. So I'm
It's
not
gonna have
against
to be
him
a
being
small
in it, but I
capacity.
didn't like, that's part of what took away from the first one for me.
Sure.
Was
Sure.
him actually being in it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely
Even
agree
more, it made him too human for me, actually. So,
Sure. And
beginning sequence.
right. And honestly, it's going to be different for everybody. I mean, I haven't found anybody that I've
I'm
liked
hoping
nearly
these
as much.
sequels actually, not to cut you off, but I just hope these sequels, I liked a little bit of the first one. It wasn't my favorite. I know you guys enjoyed it a lot more. Most
Right.
people did. But it had some good stuff there, so I'm hoping they can just build upon them. Maybe I can become a bigger fan of it altogether.
Right.
So
And because it hasn't been confirmed yet, other than the fact that Nick Castle's going to be back, but I really do hope that James Jude Courtney is coming back as the Shape, for the main portion.
I thought he
of
did a
these
great
movies.
job.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
by far, besides Nick Castle, because Nick Castle is always going to be my favorite Michael Myers. That's just my opinion. But second to him is going to be James Jude Courtney. I loved what he did with the character in 2018. And I do want to see, especially, after getting to meet him and stuff, I really want to see what he has to bring to it if he's going to be in the next 2 movies, which I hope he would be.
they might as well stay consistent like that. It's
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
much better throughout the movie.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just ask Kane Hodder.
Exactly, right. The final piece of news that goes along with Halloween, which was the 3rd piece that came out this week, but it's not really news, it's more of a rumor, but the rumor is that the character of Tommy Doyle is supposed to be making his return in Halloween Kills. Whether or not it happens remains to be seen, because obviously it hasn't been confirmed, and we may not know for a while. But that seems to be the rumor that's going on. Thoughts on that?
That definitely piqued my interest.
But
That
how are
definitely piqued my
they-
interest.
How
I
are
don't know
they
how they
supposedly
would do it.
linking Tommy Doyle to the story if he never met Jamie Lloyd?
Remember, he was in the original.
Yeah, he was in the original.
Yeah, he was the one. on
He was the
original.
little boy she was
So he
babysitting.
still
yeah.
has
I was-
a tie-in of Michael
Yeah.
fucking his head up, basically.
Yep. Now,
Which is what they did in Curse of Michael Myers,
Right.
essentially.
here's the weird thing, because they spent all this time retconning everything and everything, with the sequels and everything. The other rumor that came about was, and obviously this is just a rumor, it's definitely not confirmed or anything like that, but there was also going around that they had offered Paul Rudd the role again, which obviously for those of you that are fans, know that he was in Curse of Michael Myers as Tommy Doyle. So it's kind of an odd, choice that they would go that way if it were true.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
Obviously,
That's
and
because
then-
he's hot right now. That's why they would offer it.
right.
Right.
And he's Paul
Well,
Rudd.
I mean,
he's-
I like Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's a great comedian. He's a good actor, but I didn't. Then again, he was real young when he did the movie, so I don't know. I just didn't like his performance in that movie.
Sure. Yeah,
The guy, he does come off kind of odd in it. It's
kind of more Jerome-like in that. Yeah.
yeah.
But-
It's just-
You know, if a bus from
it was his
Pontiac
way.
arrived here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, look, here's blood that leads down to this bathroom that nobody's
Right.
noticed for 14 hours.
Yeah.
It's
And
the
no,
bus station, man.
you didn't hear the crying baby down there either.
The baby didn't make a peep in those 14 hours.
It just makes you not want to go downstairs to the bathroom.
Right.
This is a bus station, guys.
Just go in the phone booth. Everybody else does.
But so that's kind of the rumor that was going around is, and I would hope that they would bring Tommy Doyle back, especially with him being such a main focal point of the first movie. I think it would be great coming full circle.
Bring him in at the right moment, like bam.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the character again.
Yeah, definitely. But
technically, it's been more than 20 years.
I want Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer. Oh yeah, because he didn't die. Because
Halloween 2 never happened. Ben Tramer was never hit by the cop car.
Oh my god.
Hashtag Ben Tramer lives.
So
they're holding that for a new trilogy.
Right. So
the legacy of Ben Tramer.
The other part with the Paul Rudd thing is supposedly, if that rumor is true, that he had to turn it down because obviously he's in Ghostbusters 2020, and that was kind of conflicting. So that was kind of the full rumor, that he was offered it but had to turn it down because of Ghostbusters. So it's cool if that is true, because Paul Rudd obviously is, you know, super hot right now with the whole Avengers thing and all that stuff. So kind of moving on from Halloween, but kind of staying on the same topic, another piece of news that came out was regarding the new Saw movie, which is currently being filmed. It's being produced by Chris Rock and starring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. If you haven't heard,
yeah, that kind of blew me away.
Right? Yeah, no,
I couldn't believe it.
When I heard Samuel L. Jackson, I'm like, I'm all about it. At first, I was kind of like Chris Rock, but Samuel L. Jackson, you sold me. I
heard he's supposed to actually be playing Chris Rock's father.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The one thing I want to see from that movie is I just want to see Samuel L. Jackson just yell out, "I am sick and tired of these motherfucking traps." You know, something like that.
Yeah, it'll be kind of hard to see Chris Rock play a serious cop. But that's a personal thing, I think. I just love him in comedy. He's just such a funny guy, man.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's going to be jarring.
But he's capable, man. He's capable. I've seen it. Like, he did a drama. I couldn't tell you the name of it. Where his wife, he was, like, feeling unhappy with his marriage. And it was a decent movie, you know. So.
Yeah. I think for...
I'm a little confused. Is this, like, a sequel, or is it going to be a full-on, like, reboot, remake?
That's the thing. They haven't really said. They
just said Sam Jackson, Chris Rock, new Saw movie. That's basically
right, because it's like I've heard different things. So I've heard sequel.
James Wan is producing.
Right.
He's one of the production people.
So I've heard sequel, reboot, re-imaging. You know, but you know they do have.
That's what I read was re-imaging. That's what I read.
But we do know one thing. They're afraid of Halloween kills. That's why they moved the date.
Yes, yes, and that's the big news that came out, is that they moved from the October date, which every single Saw movie has been released in October. It has moved to May 15th, 2020, after the news of Halloween Kills being released.
Which is funny because they're actually trying to sell it as they can see the strength in this film, and that's why they're putting it in the hot summer lineup.
Yeah, no, I think they're
doing it a little differently.
Right. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I think they're totally
they got scared of Halloween.
They're definitely scared of Halloween.
You ain't got a lot to kick
I
it,
always
man.
disagree with that strategy. Why not go head to head?
Right.
And see what happens. You know, like most horror fans like us, we'll end up seeing both of them anyway if we get the
exactly.
chance.
Yeah.
I'm all about more horror movies during the Halloween season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Need that.
Come on,
Terrifier 2, let's go.
Yes, fucking Terrifier. Fucking Terrifier 2.
I was gonna say, come on, Saw, you can take on Halloween Electric Boogaloo. Let's do it. Okay.
Oh my god, that's too good. But so that's kind of, you know, a lot of the main news that's been at least released within the last week. Now the biggest piece of news, obviously, that came out is Rutger Hauer passing away. You know, Blade Runner, The Hitcher, Hobo with a Shotgun, so many other things, you know, he's been in, you know, over the years, you know, rest in peace, you know, sending thoughts
Yeah.
and
It's
stuff
been
to
a
his
lot,
family.
man. One of my favorite bad guys. Even though Hobo, he wasn't a bad guy, he was a hero, but he was a tough hero, so it's
He's
still
a
Yeah.
vigilante.
perfect. Yeah, he was perfect, man. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's mowing grasses in heaven now. So
Right.
I didn't realize, which might sound silly, I didn't realize he was actually from the Netherlands. I was watching
Yeah,
a little short
no.
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah.
you know, everybody talks about Blade Runner,
Mhm.
Hitcher, but nobody talks about Blind Fury. You know, he's a blind samurai.
Yeah.
man.
Blind Fury.
Nobody talks
Yeah,
about that.
that movie doesn't really get talked about a lot.
No,
That's a great
that
movie.
or Split Second, where he's
Yep.
chasing after the serial killer, which he starts wondering if it's even human that he's chasing. And nobody talks about those other movies, like it's usually just
that's
those
for
three:
sure.
Hobo, Hitcher, and Blade Runner.
What about Super Mario Brothers?
See, I've never been a big
He was
fan.
in Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, he was king or whatever.
I think you're thinking of Dennis Hopper.
King
No, that's Dennis
Was it?
Hopper. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Oh, okay.
wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't Rutger.
It's been a minute since I've seen it.
It should have
It
been now, though. That you
wasn't a
said
good
it.
movie.
Hey, honestly, it should have been Rutger Hauer. That would have made the movie better. No offense to Dennis Hopper. He's like the crazy madman. He's the madman. That's not the big scary guy.
You know,
Like the guy in
he has-
Speed, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
causing too much hell for everybody.
You know, the one thing I didn't realize, and this is when I was kind of looking over this, this week, just trying to get ready for the podcast. I didn't know he was in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I realized that when I was looking him up earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that threw me because it's like he's been in so many things, even just small parts. It's like I never realized he was in Batman Begins. With all the things that I've seen with him in, I did not realize it. I don't know why, but I just never recognized it.
Yeah, just a great character actor and
Yeah.
main guy. Versatile all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Because the first time I remember seeing him in something, and this was when I was younger, was obviously The Hitcher. A lot of people, it's Blade Runner and all that, and I understand because that's such a huge movie. But I never really got much into Blade
Hitcher
Runner.
was probably my first.
Yeah,
I think my first I've seen him in was probably Buffy.
right. Yep, definitely.
Yeah, I saw Blair, but I didn't make that connection that was him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I kind of went over that Harrison Ford was the guy singing. I was really young though, so
Right.
that movie was above my head at that point.
I couldn't tell you what my first Rutger movie was. It's been so many years.
Yeah.
He's in so many things. I couldn't tell you what the first movie I
Yeah.
saw him in.
But out of all of them, though, I think my personal favorite is definitely Hobo with a Shotgun, and that's just because
Yes.
I love
That's a great role,
Grindhouse
man.
That's a great movie.
What's your favorite line from that movie?
Oh, fuck! What?
Live, you fucking whore!
That's good, man.
I think my favorite
I don't
line
have
is
a
when he
favorite
just. I think my favorite line is when he just screams, "She is a teacher."
I don't have a favorite line, but I have a favorite scene. Is
Yes,
when the
yes.
Drake's son is finally getting his. He's dying and he's getting his just dues, and the bus pulls up
Yep,
with the kids that he had burned up earlier. It's
Yeah.
just-
that scene is the best out of the whole movie. I agree, 100%.
yeah, he
I
deserves
think back to the quote thing. I think my favorite quote of his in that movie is "You and me are going on a car ride to hell." I think that's probably my favorite one.
I fell in love with that movie right in the beginning when Ricky from Trailer Park Boys pops up. It's like, I already know this is gonna be awesome, man.
Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, there's so
A
much.
lot,
Oh, man,
quite a
that-
few people from Trailer Park Boys worked on Hobo with a Shotgun.
Was that
Yeah.
a trauma movie? Because it felt very trauma-esque.
No, it was
No,
not.
no.
It was
It's
definitely
filmed in
independent.
Canada.
It did have that feel though. It doesn't.
But yeah, back to the Trailer Park Boys thing, because Sarah Dunsworth, who obviously plays Sarah in Trailer Park Boys, did I think the costumes or the makeup.
Yeah, she was
one
a
or the other.
costume designer.
Yeah, So yes, there is
And
a few.
her sister is the main female lead in there.
Yep.
That's her sister in real life. And they're the real life daughters of John Dunsworth. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Mr. Leahy.
Yeah.
Mr. Leahy.
You are the liquor.
Yes.
Listen to me, Bobanders.
Shit, winds are blowing, Randy. Oh, good lord. But yeah, I mean it was sad to hear, with him passing away. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Another icon.
tough.
Lost a few icons this year, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have.
It's like 2019, you can go fuck yourself right now. But we say that almost every year. I mean, look at how many people have been dying in recent years.
Yeah. It's not going to stop.
No.
So, I do have a
You know-
question for you guys.
Yeah.
How do you all feel about the way Rob Zombie is releasing 3 from Hell in theaters?
I think it's probably smart with the way he's doing it. Because it's like...
For business perspective, yeah.
Yeah. Because it gives you 3 different options to go do it. Because obviously the first night you get the poster. Second night you get the behind the scenes stuff. And the third night you get the double feature if you go. I think it's smart that they're doing it that way. I wish it was like a wide release. Like a regular release. But
Yeah, that would be fun, but it'd probably make a lot more money this way.
yeah.
And it might stream out to Blu-ray a lot faster, too.
Exactly.
I don't like that it's on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday instead of Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with that. I didn't
all
realize
this,
that's
nearly
insane.
all of these limited releases are like that. They're not on the weekends. They're in the middle, the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
I'm,
went ahead,
I'm most
I bought
likely
my
not going to be able
ticket.
to see it.
I bought my ticket because I said, forget it. I'm going to take the next day off of work because I want to see this. So
I tell you what, the
So I
only
just-
thing that made me
Dog.
mad,
Sick word.
right? The only thing that made me mad with this is because with me being an AMC Stubs A-lister, so I pay the monthly fee. I can't use it towards that movie because it's a Fathom event.
It's a
Yeah.
special event, yeah.
So, and it's expensive because it's fucking $15 a ticket for that thing.
it cost me $18, and it's just by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I've never spent that much money on a movie ticket ever in my life. $18.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, I want to see this. I just want to see. I
Yeah.
love Devil's Rejects, and I love House of a Thousand Corpses.
Kids tickets here are like 9 or 10, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely, it's going to be a good movie. It looks good.
It's going to be a great movie.
It looks
Yeah.
great.
Unfortunately, I probably will have to wait till the Blu-ray release to see it.
Yeah.
I know I'm waiting to the Blu-ray just because that sounds cool.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted to go because I was thinking about doing the double feature one. I just don't think I'd be able to convince the wife to go, for that. So
I
probably
have
do
to
it by
take a day
myself.
off of work.
Yeah, that's the problem too. The nights.
I
Now,
almost
Rob
did the
Zombie,
double feature.
Give me a day's pay, brother.
I almost did the double feature. I was like, my butt would be numb, so I was like, I'll go for the second night.
Mm-hmm.
So I see some behind
Alamo's
the
doing
scenes
a
stuff.
Lord of the Rings marathon with the extended Lord of the Rings version.
No,
I was
thank you.
like, wow. Yeah, it's like an 11-hour thing. Some shit.
That's just
Well,
like
it's
how
not
they did
nearly
the,
as much as watching all the Friday movies.
Well, or all the Marvel movies when they did the freaking marathon.
Oh,
of all of them.
God.
Because they did that for up to Endgame. They redid they showed all the Marvel movies, and it was like over like a couple day period. Obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
it was ridiculous. And I'm like, who in the hell in their right mind is going to do that? I
A lot of people.
People
Not in
who
their
love
right
the
mind.
MCU. I've enjoyed the Marvel movies, but I don't love them enough to sit in a theater for 2
There's
days.
this theater like around Halloween time out in Philly, man. This company, Exhume Films, does this 24-hour horror-thon. But it's like a whole big thing. They don't tell you the names of the movies, and like if you make it to the end, everybody who's made it to the very end gets like a T-shirt and some other stuff. So it's like
That's
a whole
so
big
cool.
event. that I would
That's
definitely
awesome.
sit for the whole
That's
time.
nice.
See, because Alamo Draft House does something similar to that every year. The Dismember something or other. It's usually during October.
Yeah, I
Dismember
saw
the
that
Alamo.
last year. I didn't get-
And yeah, and so they show a bunch of horror movies, but you don't ever know what it is up until the event, and it's like you're going in there, and it is like an all day thing, or most of the day thing. So it's
If
that's
you prep
what
yourself,
it's
man,
fun.
you can achieve something like that.
Right.
If you really want to.
Well, I mean, Alamo Draft House is super comfortable, so I'd probably be able to do that.
You end up taking a nap here and
Yep.
there. Wake up and order some buffalo nuggets or whatever.
Yep.
Hey, Jeeves.
Give me some of those nuggets. Give me a refill while
I'm really hoping, like, maybe this year, Alamo Draft House, they'll do like a double feature of like Halloween 4 or 5 or something like that. Or
I hope so.
like they've done, like they've done in the
did that out
past.
here, like about I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. That was a great double feature, though.
You guys know how I feel about Halloween.
Yeah, I got to see part 1 at the Alamo last year, and it was the 4K
Ooh,
one
nice.
that they had done, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was good, but it was odd seeing it in the movie theater and seeing it so crystal clear like that, though. It was great, but I was like, wow, am I in the movies?
Right. Oh, man.
Mom, I made it.
Oh man, that's good.
So what you're saying is Sean is going to star in the Final Girls Part 2. Get sucked into the
Working
movie.
out details.
There you go.
Working out details.
So, do you guys have any final things you guys want to discuss here?
Well, the Godzilla Blu-ray set just dropped, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, what was that again? Because I missed most of that when I was trying to figure out the whole audio thing. What was going on with that Godzilla set?
Criterion. Criterion is releasing the first 15 Godzilla movies ever made. It's part of the entire Showa series, from the original Godzilla all the way to 1975's Terror of Godzilla.
Okay.
It's an 8-disc set with the first movie being the original Godzilla, which Criterion already released that a couple of years ago. But some of these other movies haven't even made it to Blu-ray, and it's going to be 2 movies to a disc, so it's 8 discs, and it's coming with a book. It's like an art book, plus with writings on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks and sounds great. I can't wait for it. Of course, you guys already know that.
Yeah, me either. I'm looking forward to that. My bank account could wait for it, but it sounds awesome.
I might dump the Batman Beyond set just so I can get this, because this comes out October 29th.
I don't know if I were to choose, I'd probably go with that Batman Beyond set, but that's just because I loved, obviously, the animated series and that,
Yeah,
But
I love both those shows too. But this is the first time, though, that the Japanese version of King Kong vs. Godzilla will be available in the United States.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially
For people who care about the Japanese version.
Yeah. Especially with it being Criterion, so I'm expecting it to be beautiful too.
Oh, yeah, Criterion's great. Apparently, they've already been streaming on some streaming site. I can't remember what it's called that Criterion's involved in. And I've heard that it looks pretty good. So
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, October 29th. I'm looking forward to that.
Streaming side is. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's on there with like the original Mothra and the Gargantuan, War of the Gargantuan, things like that. Frankenstein conquers the world, I believe. Stuff like that. I mean, they've got a lot of those kaiju movies on there.
Yeah. All right. Well, just to kind of wrap things up here, we do want to thank you guys for checking out our first podcast. I know it may have kind of gone all over the place, but this is just kind of how we are. We're kind of random. We kind of, we'll set some things that we want to that we want to talk about. But honestly, it's right, one of us. But it's gonna end up being probably random like this. It's just how we are. We just like to talk about stuff. But it's not always going to be about horror. We like wrestling. We like video games. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things, on this podcast. So if that's stuff that you're into, please check us out again. We'll have our, links. We have our website at www.clspodcast.com. You can talk to us on social media. We have a Facebook page. You can also, through social media channels, use the hashtag CLSPodcast and keep the conversation going. But we do want to thank you guys for checking us out tonight. We will see you again soon.
Slay you next time.
Thanks for joining us today for the CLS Podcast. Check us out at www.clspodcast.com or join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag CLS Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, campers.